Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. We begin tonight with news a man has been arrested and charged with the attempted abduction of a child in Hobart. For more, we're joined by reporter Lily Thompson. And Lily, what do we know about what happened?
Well, Kim, the Queen's Domain is used by families and commuters every day, but shortly after 8 o'clock last night, it was the location of a terrifying incident. Police say a 60-year-old man attempted to force a child into his car. Thankfully, the child wasn't physically injured and managed to provide a detailed version of what went down, including recounting the car's number plate, police locating and arresting the man a short time later.
We think that this is a safer sort of area for us to just be with kids. And yeah, it's shocking to hear.
I think it's a very sad situation.
Is this something frightening?
Definitely. I mean, I've got 6 grandkids in Hobart.
The man will appear in court next month. Kim?
Okay, thank you, Lily. A usually quiet Launceston suburban street has been disturbed by a heavy police presence, with officers raiding a Newstead property this morning. Armed with bolt cutters, police entered the Amy Road shed around 11 o'clock and were seen leaving with several bags of evidence. Uniformed officers seizing more than $40,000 worth of property, including power tools and trade equipment. Police say the planned search follows recent motor vehicle burglaries and investigations are ongoing. The Chief Executive of Targa Tasmania, Mark Perry, has told a coronial inquest the race is undergoing major changes before it's expected to return next year. Reduced speed limits, real-time speed monitoring and annual safety car checks are set to be introduced. Tomorrow is the final day of the inquest examining the deaths of 4 competitors, with findings and recommendations to be handed down at a later date. The Tasmanian Police Union is calling on the state government and commissioner to reform their officers' roster structure. The group says an arrangement, which was trialled across some small stations, has been successful, boosting overall well-being and work-life balance.
Their job is to protect the community. Now they're demanding the state government protects their well-being. Tasmania's police union calling for measures to address the rostering system and high officer turnover rates.
They're quite angry, they're very agitated.
With claims the force is already stretched and struggling to retain staff. The union is pushing for the 6-on, 6-off roster trial to become permanent statewide.
It is critically important for the community of Tasmania that 24-hour workers are supported.
It claims the current arrangement, which requires officers to work 7 consecutive night shifts, is having an impact on their mental health. With a 14% workers' compensation rate, 70% relating to mental health claims.
It doesn't relieve their stress and it gives them insufficient amount of time away from the workplace to rest, de-stress from the critical events they go to.
We know that 90% of police officers that undertook the trial shift into this rostering system reported that it assisted them with their well-being and general happiness.
When questioned during a parliamentary hearing, the Commissioner expressed well-being remains a priority, but says the rostering reform doesn't necessarily help with the enhancing the work-life balance.
And while the 6-on, 6-off is popular with staff, it actually is not reducing fatigue, it's actually increasing fatigue, and it's doing that because the roster needs to be supplemented by regular overtime shifts.
And despite $35 million being cut from Tasmania's police, fire and emergency services, the Minister in charge is confident enough has been invested into the health and well-being of frontline workers.
The budget is sufficient for the well-being.
And that's why you'll see as part of it $4 million. That the growth that we are seeing in the wellbeing support program is absolutely vital.
Rebecca Gadineris at 7, Tasmania News.
Sport Minister Nick Street's been grilled in budget estimates on whether his office was involved in cancelling a Hawthorn function at Launceston's Mud Bar last month, just hours after the venue's owner spoke out in the media about delays to the new Spirit vessels. Staffers blaming the rescheduling of the Hawks Roos game due to TasNetwork's strike action.
Did your office say words to the effect that the government won't be spending a cent at that venue this weekend?
I'll have to take that on notice as well.
The Greens more interested in the cost missing from the Macquarie Point Stadium's
Do you
budget.
accept that there's a funding black hole of well over $300 million here?
No, look, I don't accept that, but we have been clear from the very start of this project that we will require private investment to make this stadium project work.
Work is still underway on a new deal with the Hawks to keep them playing at UTAS through 2026. More should be done to help those struggling during the cost of living crisis, according to the National President of St Vincent de Paul. The call for help coming as Vinnie's celebrates a major Tasmanian milestone at the church where it all began.
A church service to mark 125 years of St Vincent de Paul helping the people of Tasmania. Members and friends of the society coming together to celebrate Catholic Mass at Launceston's Church of Apostles. Vinnie's, as they're affectionately called, has never been more relevant as communities struggle to get by during a cost of living crisis.
This is the most pressing time that I've ever experienced when it comes to the needs of our community. Cost of living, escalating rents, low incomes, particularly for those that aren't fortunate to have full-time work.
The Society has seen a 20% increase in demand for its services in Tasmania.
Increasingly we see people challenged just for the basics. Around about 63% of our emergency relief is offered through food.
People also seeking assistance with clothing, fuel, medications and often shelter.
A lot of our advocacy work through the federal government is increase in payments and benefits. Our benefits are simply insufficient. Carers allowance, youth allowance, sole parent allowance.
So you think the federal government could be doing more there?
Absolutely.
The church playing an important role in caring for those living homeless.
It's not just a bed for the night and a food and a shower, but it's also really caring for them and supporting them.
Showing compassion when it's needed most. Melinda Ogden, 7 Tasmania News.
The makings of a potential new West Coast mine are hidden in these core samples used by companies to test whether valuable minerals are lurking underground. Copper Corp is one of 5 mines handed $50,000 from the state government to test a new site near Mount Lyell.
We're looking for extensions of this copper mine, and this grant is extremely useful to us because it really does make the difference between whether we're going to do more exploration or less exploration.
You don't go about this task without living in the hope that there will be new mines, new jobs, new wealth creation for our state.
These samples will then be kept in Tasmania's core library for education and public viewing. Well, gin lovers will soon have the chance to tickle their taste buds as operators gear up to showcase some of the state's best drops at its 8th edition of the annual Ginuary Festival. Tasmanians can get early bird tickets from tomorrow, with the first 500 to receive a 500ml special release Tasmanian vodka. The event will take shape at Hobart's Princess Wharf between January 18 and 19. A prominent Tasmanian street artist has gone back to the classroom, teaming up with students to create a new mural with added meaning. The partnership aims to spread an important message, reminding young learners a little kindness goes a long way.
Adding a splash of colour, one stroke at a time. Each brush enshrining a motto close to Ravenswood Heights Primary's heart.
Spreading kindness can turn someone's day into a bright, colourful day.
The school working alongside popular street artist Cream Art, helping turn a blank canvas into a vibrant hub of activity.
We wanted to really come together and try and brighten up these walls as much as possible.
The meaning of the newest artwork going beyond the walls, hoping to inspire friendship, kindness and inclusivity.
Celebrate and work with our students about really promoting kindness, using those positive words and encouraging other people.
Proving many hands make light work. 70 students have picked up the paintbrush this week, leaving their mark and their advice for future painters.
Definitely do it slow, or else you'll go out of the lines.
Go slow and don't go too fast with it or you'll muck up. I'm not really good at painting anything. I kind of mucked up a couple of times but still turned out great.
The cohort's creation also leaving a lasting legacy.
To have something that's permanently on our school that they've contributed to and is going to be there forever is something that's really special, that sits in their heart.
A colourful heart for years to come. Victoria Risto, 7 Tasmania News.
A loss and washed-out draw was a far than ideal start to the Tigers' one-day season, but they're back home tonight with a week and a half off to prepare for the first Sheffield Shield clash. And there are still plenty of positives to draw on.
I thought we fielded and we bowled really well, and we probably showed that in the second game as well. So we're going to take that into the Shield game and our next one day at the WACA.
Jewell admits there were some own goals from the Tigers in succumbing to Victorian bowlers Sam Elliott's record-breaking 7 for 12 off 8 overs. Meanwhile, the Tigers are missing Tabitha Saville and Lizelle Lee, both out injured for their second WNCL match in Perth. Tasmania bowling Western Australia out for 215 this afternoon, but it's been proving a difficult chase this afternoon as the hosts secure a steady flow of wickets. Tassie getting there in the end though, just a few minutes ago, needing 2 runs from the last 2 overs with 1 wicket in hand. There's a fitting induction to the Hockey Australia Hall of Fame in Tasmania's first Kookaburras captain, Matthew Wells. The 3-time Olympian played 242 games for Australia over his 11-year career and is part of a small group to have won a medal at every Olympics he's competed at. He was previously inducted into the Tasmanian Sporting Hall of Fame back in 2012.
Good evening. Hobart and Devonport 15 today, 14 in Launceston and Burnie. Across the state we saw 15 at Friendly Beaches, Smithton, Low Head and Maria Island 14, 13 for King Island, St Helens and Bushy Park, Flinders Island, Grove and Strawn all 12, 6 in Laiwini and an overnight low -5 recorded at Coonunny, Mount Wellington. Mostly cloudy conditions were experienced about western, southern and eastern areas today. An extensive area of low-level cloud is seen to the west of Tasmania and also to the south of the Bight, associated with a high-pressure system. Tomorrow a high will shift to the north of the state, extending a ridge over central Australia. Westerly winds 10 to 20 knots about the north, grading up to 30 knots about the south. Southwesterly swells increasing up to 3.5 metres. There is a strong wind warning for coastal waters between Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. We have a frost warning tomorrow for the northwest coast, central north, northeast, Midlands and east coast. Hello Friday, the south will experience cloudy conditions tomorrow. Hobart, Huonville and Campania all 17. A fine and sunny day in the north, Launceston 18, 16 the high for both Devonport and Georgetown. Partly cloudy in Burnie and Wynyard tomorrow, 17. Cloudy also in Strawn with 14 there. A sunny day on the coast, St Helens and Swansea 17. A bit of cloud for Port Arthur, 16's the top. Forecast now for Saturday, an inland frost at first about the south, otherwise it will be a fine and sunny day. Sunday showers developing about the west, extending to remaining districts throughout the day before easing and contracting to the west and Bass Strait Islands by evening. And on Monday, showers about the west with light showers extending to the north. It will be fine elsewhere. Looking now at our national forecast for your Friday, Perth aiming for 19 with showers expected, sunny in Adelaide and Melbourne, a shower or 2 in Sydney 19, rain easing in Brisbane with 21 degrees. Partly cloudy in Hobart 9 degrees, also partly cloudy in Launceston with 10 and clear in Devonport with 9. Looking forward to longer days ahead, Kim, as daylight savings kicks off next weekend.
It's not far away. Thanks, Kaya. That is all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us. Good night.